Mornings begin quietly in Willow Creek, a small town in Minnesota. Mist rises from the lake, enveloping the houses, while old maple trees sway in the gentle breeze. Olivia Clarke, born and raised in this town, grew up gazing at the white hospital building visible from her window. When Olivia was 5, her hospitalization for a high fever and the dedicated care of Nurse Jennifer determined the course of her life. "When I grow up, I want to be like Jennifer," that childhood vow never faded with time. The Clarke family was known in town as a successful family. Her father Thomas was an executive at the town's largest construction company, successfully completing one housing development project after another. Though he had a stern expression, he concealed a gentleness within, though that gentleness was directed toward few. Her mother Martha taught English at the local high school but retired 5 years ago and now devotes herself to her book club and gardening. She was an intellectual and sociable woman, but her expressions of love always came with conditions. "Martha, what's for dinner today?" Thomas's voice echoed from the living room. "Pot roast." April's favorite, Martha answered from the kitchen with a smile. Olivia's younger sister April was the jewel of the Clarke family. With golden curls and clear blue eyes, she had excelled in ballet and science since childhood. Her parents had expected her to become a future doctor, buying her anatomy picture books and taking her to science museums from an early age. April's high school report card arrived. "Straight A's," Martha announced proudly. "As expected." "She's special," Thomas looked up from his newspaper and nodded with satisfaction. Olivia silently wiped the table. Her grades were also nearly all A's, but her parents never showed the same joy for her achievements. Olivia's diligence was considered, expected, and unworthy of special praise. In her final year of high school, Olivia expressed her desire to attend nursing school during career counseling. Counselor Mr. Johnson highly valued her grades and enthusiasm, recommending the nursing program at St. Catherine University, which had a good reputation in the state. "You could qualify for a scholarship, but it won't cover all the tuition. You'll need parental support or student loans for the rest." Back home, Olivia mustered the courage to tell her parents about her university plans. Standing before her parents on the living room sofa, she spoke of her dream to become a nurse. "Well, St. Catherine is a good school, but the tuition is expensive," Martha said, putting down her coffee cup. "A nurse?" Thomas frowned. "Isn't that something you can become without going to university? A community college should be enough." But Mr. Johnson said that graduating from a university nursing program would provide more future options, and the salary. Olivia, her father's voice had a coldness to it. "We're saving for April's medical school. Becoming a doctor costs an enormous amount. A nurse is an ordinary job. You can go to school while working." "That's right," her mother agreed. "You're a practical child, so studying while working suits you better. April needs to concentrate on her studies, but you're different, aren't you?" Anger and sadness spread through Olivia's chest. In her parents' eyes, only her sister's dreams were special, while hers were ordinary. Though she understood this was always the case, the reality always brought pain. "I understand," Olivia answered quietly. While maintaining a calm expression, she was inwardly resolute. Even without her parents' support, she would never give up on her dream. That night, Olivia opened the local hospital's website and applied for a part-time receptionist position. Work during the day, school at night, that was her new plan. April came running up the stairs and knocked on Olivia's door. "Come in." "Hey, what did Mom and Dad say?" "About college?" April asked, bouncing onto the bed. Without taking her eyes off the screen, Olivia answered, "I decided not to go. I'll study while working." "Oh." April looked somewhat confused. "But you've always said you wanted to be a nurse." "I will be. I've just chosen a different path." April started to say something but swallowed her words. She felt the weight of her parents' expectations for her future. And she was vaguely aware of the difference in how they treated her sister. But she lacked the courage to speak up against this unfairness. "Good luck," April said as she left the room. Olivia closed the window and lay on her bed. Staring at the ceiling, she renewed her determination to forge her own path. Rather than continuing to seek her parents' love and approval, she would realize her dreams through her own power. That was the path she had chosen. Willow Creek High School's graduation ceremony was held in the old gymnasium in the center of town. The warm June sunlight streamed through the high skylights, creating diamond-like patterns of light on the floor. During her speech, Olivia felt as if that light was illuminating her path to the future. "Today, we close one chapter and step into a new adventure," Olivia addressed from the podium. She had achieved the second highest grades in her year and was chosen as one of the student representatives. "We may feel anxious about the unknown path ahead. But that anxiety is proof of our growth. Let's continue walking toward our dreams without fear." When she returned to her seat after the speech, her classmates greeted her with warm applause and smiles. Yet, the expressions of her parents sitting in the audience felt somehow distant. After the graduation ceremony, the Clarke family held a small party at home. A white tent was set up in the backyard, with Martha's homemade lemonade and cake arranged on tables. Relatives and neighbors gathered to congratulate Olivia on her graduation. "Olivia, that was a wonderful speech," Aunt Betty said while hugging her. "What will you do now?" "University." The moment that question was asked, her father Thomas, sitting on the living room sofa, cleared his throat. Olivia hesitated for a moment but quickly regained her smile. "I'm going to work at Willow Creek General Hospital while attending nursing school at night," she answered brightly. "My training starts next week." Studying while working will be difficult," Betty said with surprise. "Thomas, Martha, are you?" "Olivia has a strong independent spirit," Martha quickly interrupted. "She says she wants to do it on her own, and we're supporting her." A lie, that word echoed in Olivia's heart. Her parents weren't supporting her, they simply didn't want to pay for her education. But she maintained her expression and continued to smile. "Anyway, congratulations on April's acceptance to medical school," one of the relatives changed the subject. "The University of Minnesota Medical School must be very competitive, right?" Thomas's face immediately brightened. "Yes, April is special. She's already been accepted to medical school as a high school senior. We're very proud of her." Martha also added happily, "We'll do anything for her. Medical school tuition is expensive, but it's for our daughter's dream." Those words stabbed Olivia's heart. In her parents' eyes, only April's dream was worth investing in. Olivia quietly headed toward the terrace, wanting to be alone. "Olivia, wait." Turning around, she saw April following her. She was wearing an elegant blue dress, her golden hair perfectly curled. "Congratulations on graduating," April held out a small box. "This is for you." Olivia opened the box and found a bracelet with a silver stethoscope charm. "This. I wanted to support your dream," April smiled. "I'll be wearing a white coat someday too, so we'll be medical sisters." Just as Olivia was about to express her gratitude, Martha approached the two. "So here you are. April, Dr. Miller has arrived. He wants to talk about your medical school admission." April hesitated for a moment but was encouraged by her mother to go back inside. Martha looked at Olivia and smiled. "Why don't you come inside too? Everyone wants to celebrate you." "Mom," Olivia gathered her courage and said, "I want to go to nursing school. Full time. I can get a scholarship, but for the rest." Martha laughed. There was no warmth in that laugh. "You can just work normally. You don't need expensive tuition to become a nurse, do you?" The sound of Olivia's hopes being crushed again resonated in her heart. But the nursing program at St. Catherine would provide more specialized education. Olivia, Martha's voice turned cold. Stop this now. It's decided, isn't it? April has a future. Becoming a doctor costs an enormous amount. At that moment, April, who had returned to the terrace, overheard the conversation. Her expression clouded for an instant, but quickly changed to a malicious smile. Mom's judgment was right, April said. I have a proper future, and becoming a doctor is difficult. Olivia stared at her sister. April had been a kind and thoughtful child when she was younger. When had she become so arrogant? Had her parents' favoritism changed her? Tears welled up. Olivia held them back and silently left the terrace. She walked through the backyard, along the path, to the nearby park. The evening sky was beginning to turn purple. Sitting on a park bench, she took a deep breath. She was trying to escape from the whirlwind of mixed emotions of sadness and anger. Her phone rang. It was from an unknown number. Hello, is this Olivia Clarke? A woman's calm voice was heard. This is Carol Wilson from Willow Creek General Hospital. I've reviewed your application. Could you come in for an interview tomorrow? Olivia straightened her back. Yes, I'd be happy to. After hanging up, she looked up at the twilight sky. A stranger had placed trust in her that her parents had not shown. It was small, but a definite ray of hope. I will become a nurse, Olivia quietly vowed. No one can take my dream away from me. The next day, Olivia visited Willow Creek General Hospital. Standing in front of the white building, she took a deep breath and went inside. After giving her name at the front desk, the receptionist smiled kindly. Carol is waiting for you. This way, please. Walking down the hallway, she saw a woman in her early 50s. With her silver hair neatly arranged, she wore a simple blouse under her white coat. Her eyes reflected experience and wisdom but were filled with kindness. Olivia. Welcome, Carol took her hand. Now, your new adventure begins. At 6 in the morning, Olivia woke up before her alarm went off. The morning sun streaming through the window bathed her apartment's small living room in a golden light. This apartment, which she had rented when she started working at Willow Creek General Hospital 7 years ago, wasn't spacious, but it was a symbol of pride and independence for her. While adjusting her white uniform in front of the mirror, Olivia reflected on the path she had walked. The first 3 years were grueling, working as a receptionist during the day and attending nursing school at night. She was constantly short on sleep and had almost no time to spend with friends. Still, she never gave up. Olivia, you have something special, Carol often told her. I can see that patients trust you, especially the children. Indeed, the children in pediatrics loved Olivia. Their faces brightened when she entered the room. Many children could endure scary procedures without crying if Olivia was by their side. After obtaining her nursing license, Olivia was assigned to pediatrics. There, she found her calling. She was particularly passionate about caring for children battling serious illnesses. Her dedication and skills came to be highly valued within the hospital, and she earned the nickname Miracle Nurse. Olivia. Pulled from her thoughts, Olivia turned toward the voice. It was her colleague Rachel, hurrying down the hallway. Good morning, Rachel. What is it? We have a special patient transferring in today. Thomas Hopkins, 8 years old. He's in the final stage of leukemia and needs specialized care, Rachel said, catching her breath. Carol has designated you as his primary nurse. Olivia nodded. Being entrusted with the most challenging cases was a testament to the trust in her abilities. I understand. I'll prepare. That afternoon, Olivia met her new patient, Thomas. A boy with large blue eyes and an emaciated body, it was evident he had already endured many treatments and much pain. Still, he bravely showed a smile. Hello, Thomas. I'm Olivia. I'll be your primary nurse, she said gently. Everyone calls me Tommy, the boy answered in a small voice. How long will I be here? That depends on how you're feeling, Olivia answered honestly. But we'll do our best to make sure you're comfortable. While caring for Tommy, Olivia was impressed by his strength and wisdom. At just 8 years old, he had profound insights into life and death. Olivia increased the time she spent with Tommy between her duties, reading his favorite books and playing simple games. Hey, Olivia, Tommy asked one day while receiving an 4 drip. Why did you become a nurse? Olivia thought for a moment before answering. When I was little, I was hospitalized with an illness. A nurse named Jennifer took care of me so kindly, and I wanted to help someone like that someday. Tommy nodded with satisfaction. When I grow up, I want to be a doctor. But Mom says, that's not possible, Tommy. You might not live that long. Olivia's heart ached. Tommy, what's important is having dreams. Even if those dreams don't come true, having them makes life richer. Around the same time, Olivia's sister April's life was taking a completely different direction. During her first 2 years in medical school, April struggled to keep up with the rigorous studies, and her grades were poor. Still, her parents continued to support her fully, hiring tutors and buying expensive reference books. April is just taking a detour, Martha explained to relatives and friends. She has special talents. It's natural that it takes time. However, by the 3rd year, the situation had worsened. April began spending more time partying than studying and failed more exams. Eventually, she decided to drop out of medical school. I want to be a lawyer, not a doctor, April told her parents. Law school would suit me better. Thomas and Martha were momentarily disappointed but quickly supported their daughter's new dream. Lawyer is a wonderful profession too, Thomas said. You can do anything. And the parents agreed to pay the full tuition for April's law school. Olivia heard this news during a rare phone call from her mother. Olivia, it's been a while, there was a slight tension in Martha's voice. About April, she's decided to go to law school. She's leaving medical school. I see, Olivia replied flatly. If she's happy, that's good. Yes, that's right, Martha seemed somewhat uncomfortable. So, how are you? Your job at the hospital? It's fulfilling, Olivia said. I'm working in the pediatric oncology ward now. I've also just started specialized training. Training? Yes, for an advanced pediatric nursing certification. I started using my own savings. On the other end of the phone, her mother fell silent. Olivia knew her words had struck home. She deliberately emphasized, using my own savings, to show that she was moving forward on her own strength, without asking her parents for help. That's wonderful, Martha finally said. You've always had a strong independent spirit. Olivia smiled bitterly. Independent was merely a beautified way of saying abandoned. The training course was challenging, but Olivia enjoyed it. By acquiring more specialized knowledge and skills, the quality of her care improved further. She began to stand out particularly in the fields of terminal care and palliative care. The week Olivia turned 30, Carol called her to her office. Olivia, I have something to tell you, Carol said happily. We've received an offer from St. Jude Children's Hospital in Minneapolis. They want to recruit you as the head nurse for their pediatric oncology ward. Olivia was surprised and left speechless. St. Jude was one of the top children's hospitals in the country, and a position there meant a significant leap for her career. The annual salary is more than double what you're making now, Carol added. It's the perfect opportunity for you. Olivia was filled with gratitude. Carol had always supported her and encouraged her growth. Over these 7 years, she had been not just a boss but a mentor and sometimes a mother figure. Carol, I couldn't have come this far without you, Olivia said with emotion. No, this is all the result of your own efforts, Carol smiled. I just recognized your talent. For children like Tommy, you are a beacon of hope. Those words resonated deeply in Olivia's heart. It was confirmation that her work truly had value. Meanwhile, April's new adventure didn't last long. Law school studies didn't suit her either, and she dropped out after just a year and a half. Her parents' disappointment was great, but they still didn't abandon their daughter. I want to start a business, April explained her new plan to her parents. I want to launch an organic skincare product brand. That way I can use my creative talents. Thomas and Martha sighed deeply but ultimately decided to invest in her new dream as well, even taking out a second mortgage on their house and dipping into part of their retirement funds. When Olivia was preparing to move to Minneapolis, an article about April's new business appeared in the local newspaper. Under the title, Young Entrepreneur Brings Innovation to Her Hometown, April was pictured with a confident smile. However, Olivia sensed the anxiety hidden behind that smile. April was placed in a position where she had to truly deliver results for the first time in her life. And she wasn't used to that. On her last day before moving to Minneapolis, Olivia said goodbye to Tommy. His condition was stable, but the prospects for a complete recovery were slim. Will I see you again? Tommy asked in a small voice. Of course, Olivia answered, holding his hand. I'll always be cheering for you, Tommy. That night, as Olivia quietly packed up her apartment, she reflected on her journey. This path that had begun with betrayal and rejection was now filled with hope and success. She had proven her worth without gaining her family's approval. Mornings in Minneapolis were completely different from those in Willow Creek. The morning sun shining between skyscrapers. Crowds of people passing on the streets. And the magnificent building of St. Jude Children's Hospital. 2 years had passed since Olivia moved to this city. Sitting in her own office at the hospital, Olivia was checking today's schedule. The responsibilities as head nurse of the pediatric oncology ward were heavy, but she loved her role. Under her guidance, the ward had shown record improvements in both patient satisfaction and recovery rates. Miss Clarke, you have visitors, her secretary Jennifer knocked on the door and announced. Visitors? They weren't on my schedule, Olivia wondered as she replied. They say they're your family. Thomas and Martha Clarke. Olivia's body froze. It was unexpected for her parents to visit. The last time they had been in contact was half a year ago, when she only sent a Christmas card. Please show them in, Olivia said after taking a deep breath. The door opened, and Thomas and Martha entered. Both looked a bit older. Especially her father, whose hair had turned completely white, and his shoulders were slightly hunched. Her mother was still well-groomed as always, but there were dark circles under her eyes. Olivia, Martha approached with a smile. What a lovely office. Why are you here? Olivia asked suddenly. She had wanted to be polite, but the words came out from her surprise. Can't we come see our daughter? Thomas said somewhat defensively. We had business in Minneapolis. We thought we'd stop by since we were in the area. Olivia was skeptical but nodded. Have a seat. Would you like some coffee? Her father was looking at the view from the hospital window. It's an impressive hospital, he said. I've heard about your success here. It was even in the local newspaper. Hope Nurse or something. Olivia was a bit surprised. She hadn't thought her parents were tracking her success. Yes, it's a nickname the patients gave me. We're proud of you, Olivia, Martha said. You really worked hard. There was truth in those words, but they also seemed to contain some hidden message. Olivia silently observed her parents. So, Thomas cleared his throat. How are things going lately? The salary must be good, right? There it was, Olivia understood in an instant. What do you need? She asked directly. Her parents exchanged glances. Martha took a deep breath and dropped her shoulders. "I'll be honest," she said. "We're struggling financially. April's business didn't work out. It was a complete failure," Thomas added bitterly. "She spent all the money on marketing. Product development hardly progressed, and the $400,000 we invested went down the drain." Olivia's eyes widened in surprise. $400,000? "Most of our second mortgage and retirement funds," Martha explained in a tired voice. Thomas is being forced into early retirement, and the pension alone isn't enough." "That's not all," Thomas continued. "April has accumulated personal debt. Nearly $200,000 in credit cards and high-interest loans. She's now depressed and can't work." Olivia was at a loss for words. Her emotions were a complex mix: sympathy, anger, and a sense of ironic satisfaction. "So, what do you want from me?" she asked quietly. "We need your help," Martha said straightforwardly. "Since you've succeeded, isn't it natural to help your family?" "Natural?" Olivia's voice turned ice cold. "It's an obligation to help your family," Thomas said. "We raised you, fed you, gave you a roof. But didn't pay for my education," Olivia said sarcastically. Martha narrowed her eyes. "Are you still holding a grudge about that?" "Grow up, Olivia. The past is the past." Olivia stood up and walked to the window. Looking at the city view, she thought deeply. While feeling angry at her parents' actions, she could also understand that they were truly in trouble. "I'll think about it," she finally said. "I can't give you an answer right away." Her parents looked disappointed but nodded. After they left, Olivia stared out the window for a long time. That Friday, Olivia had had a particularly difficult day. 2 patients had fallen into critical condition, and a little girl had passed away. As she was about to leave the ward, exhausted, notification of an emergency admission came in. "Woman in her late 20s, suspected drug overdose," the resident reported. "Vitals are stable, but she's disoriented." "Today I'm all ready," Olivia was about to decline, but she froze at the resident's next words. "The patient's name is April Clarke." When April was brought in, Olivia struggled to control her emotions. Her sister's face was pale, and her body was emaciated. Her once radiant golden hair was dark and lifeless. "I'll take charge," Olivia told the nursing team. "She's my sister." For the next few hours, Olivia put aside her personal feelings, calling on all her professional training. She checked April's vitals, monitored her and guided her to a stable condition. As morning approached, April woke up. "Olivia," her voice was hoarse. "Why, are you here?" "You were brought to my hospital," Olivia replied calmly. "Do you remember what happened at the party?" April weakly shook her head. "The last thing I remember is someone offering white powder." She began to cry. "Everything is a mess. My life is a complete failure." Olivia took her sister's hand. Despite the complex emotions inside her, she felt empathy. "April, it's going to be okay. You'll get through this. Why are you being kind to me?" April looked up through her tears. "I've been terrible to you, haven't I?" Olivia silently brushed the hair from her sister's forehead. "We'll talk about that later. Now, rest." After April fell back asleep, Olivia called her parents. They rushed to the hospital early the next morning. Martha collapsed in tears upon seeing her daughter, and Thomas stood frozen, staring at the wall. "She will recover," Olivia told her parents. "But she needs treatment for drug addiction. And psychological care too." "The money," Thomas began to say. "I'll cover the treatment costs," Olivia decided. "But just giving money isn't enough. April needs true independence." Her parents looked puzzled. Olivia took them to the cafeteria, deciding to talk in a calmer place. Listen, she sat in front of her parents and said with a serious expression. I won't abandon my family. I'll arrange all the treatment April needs. But that alone isn't sufficient. She took a deep breath and confronted the emotions she had carried for years. Rather than just giving money, I'll support April's recovery and independence. I want her to know the importance of standing on her own feet, as I learned. Martha wiped away tears and gazed at Olivia. You've really grown strong. I had no choice, Olivia quietly answered. It wasn't an accusation, just a statement of fact. Thomas showed true regret for the first time. We were wrong. We should have believed in you. Olivia looked into her father's eyes. The approval she had sought for years was finally there. But now, she realized she no longer needed it. We can't change the past, she said. But the future is different. Let's create a new beginning together, as a family. That night, Olivia stood on the hospital roof, looking up at the starry sky. Her heart was full of complex emotions, but she also felt a strange peace. After a long journey, she had found her worth. And now, she could use that strength to help those who had once hurt her. It wasn't just forgiveness, it was a manifestation of true strength. The opening ceremony for the new wing of St. Jude Children's Hospital was held on a bright spring day. The new facility, named Clarke Nurse Training Center, was built in the place where the most light streamed into the hospital grounds. At the moment of the ribbon cutting, Olivia felt a warmth in her chest. The nurse training program she had established 2 years ago had now evolved into a formal education center. The scholarship system for economically disadvantaged students had also been enhanced with part of her salary and donations. I hope this facility will be a place that supports the dreams of future nurses, Olivia spoke through the microphone. Everyone should have the opportunity to believe in their potential and pursue it. In the audience were her parents, Thomas and Martha. Both were looking at their daughter with proud expressions. Next to Martha sat April. After a year of intensive rehabilitation, April had begun walking a new life path. Under Olivia's support, she had trained as a nursing assistant and now worked at the same hospital. Her former arrogance was gone, and her eyes held a gentle light of determination. Next, we have a speech from a representative of the new nursing assistants. The MC turned the microphone to where April stood. For a long time, I sought my worth in the wrong places, April began speaking quietly. I thought becoming a doctor was everything. But now I understand. The joy of helping others is true happiness. I learned this important lesson from my sister. Olivia and April's gazes met, and there was an understanding between them that words couldn't express. At the reception after the ceremony, Martha approached Olivia. She was holding a photo album in her hands. I wanted to show you this, Martha said. It's my new hobby. The album contained carefully pasted newspaper clippings of Olivia's achievements as a nurse and copies of her awards. Martha had been secretly documenting her daughter's success for several years. I always tell my granddaughters, Martha smiled. Your mother is a strong person who never gave up on her dreams, even when no one believed in her. Olivia looked at her mother in surprise. Granddaughters? Oh, just a figure of speech, Martha shrugged. I was thinking about the future. If you ever have children, that's what I want to tell them. Thomas was talking with young nursing students a short distance away. After retirement, he had begun volunteering as a career mentor in the community. Never trivialize someone else's dreams, that had become his motto. On the weekend, the Clarke family gathered at Olivia's apartment for the first time in a long while. They enjoyed a simple but warm meal together and talked about each other's lives. I have a question, April said during dessert. Why did you forgive me? I was so terrible to you. Olivia held her wine glass and gazed at the dusk outside the window. By forgiving, I freed myself too, she answered simply. to move forward without being imprisoned by the past. Late that night, after her parents had gone home, the sisters sat on the small balcony, looking up at the starry sky. "Are you happy?" Olivia asked April. April gazed at the sky thoughtfully and slowly nodded. "For the first time, I might be truly happy. Because I can be myself." Olivia smiled. After a long journey, she had not only achieved success but also regained the bonds with her lost family, and above all, she had found her own worth.